You guys chomping at the bit right here to talk some Nebraska football? We hope so here on Huskers Live. Appreciate you being here, everyone, here on the Voice of College Football. Leave those comments and questions. We will get to them as soon as possible. Here's the guy that makes it all happen. Got Greg Peterson here talking Nebraska football, of course. Greg, what's going on?
Hey, it's been a crazy, awesome weekend. Finally got to work and, it was really busy and a lot of recruiting things happening in Nebraska. So it's been great, Mark. I got my rest yesterday and here I'm ready to go tonight.
All right.
How about
Love
you?
it.
Hope
Greg's
you're happy.
ready to go. All right, let's put you to work with this offensive tackle. He's the latest in the door. Brock KNUTSON is out of right there in Scottsbluff, Nebraska.
Yeah, he's
6'7", 270.
He's a monster. He's more like 6'9". I think that 6'7" is a little bit cutting him a little short. He's a guy that oh gosh, I mean, we're kind of fast forwarding, from a huge weekend here at Nebraska with all the camps and everything going on. But no, Brock is he's a guy that he comes from a smaller town right by Scottsbluff that he was playing football at, and he just transferred to Scottsbluff for this upcoming season. And he blew up on the recruiting scene. We've done an interview with him before, but he is an absolute monster. And he was he took his official visit on Friday, well, for the whole weekend. And he was out there, he didn't work out for Friday Night Lights camp on Friday. But if any of you out there have watched our Friday night recap with that I did with Mr. Stephen A. Sipple, I actually predicted a Brock KNUTSON commitment on air Friday night, just by the way that I was reading his body language and the way he was walking around and interacting with the coaches. So it is on video. It was up. It was posted on Friday. So everybody go there. It's On 3 Nebraska on the YouTube channel, a brand new YouTube channel for us. So everybody jump over there and subscribe right now. On 3 Nebraska on YouTube. And you can see all of our great coverage. Steve Sipple and myself did, we recapped the Friday Night Lights camp, and then we recapped the 7-on-7 camp on Sunday. So, yeah, a big get for Nebraska with Brock KNUTSON, though. He's a guy that obviously is kind of funny. When I first saw him in person, when we interviewed him on our in-state tour, he came all the way down here to Lincoln. And if people don't know, Scottsbluff is it's a heck of a lot closer to Denver, Colorado than it is to Lincoln. And, he made the 5-hour drive down to Lincoln and just so he could interview with myself and our team. And I was just amazed about his size. And then about a month later, it was during his spring press conference, and Garrett Nelson, who's also from Scottsbluff, that he started at Scottsbluff his whole high school career. And I pulled him aside when he was leaving, and I say, hey, Garrett, have you met this Brock KNUTSON kid yet? He's like, yeah, I did. I go, man, that guy's a monster. He's like, yeah, I like him a lot. So, so if he's getting Garrett Nelson's stamp of approval, he's got mine. But yeah, he is a. I can't stop saying an absolute monster. He's an imposing looking guy, and not an ounce of fat on his body. Every LB on that he's listed at is all muscle, and very, very impressive looking prospect, and a great get for Nebraska.
So according to the On 3 rankings here, 52nd at offensive tackle in the country, number 741 overall, 6th rated player in the state of Nebraska. And then we take it back a few days earlier to the number 1 player in the class thus far, wide receiver Jayden Doss, 6 foot 195 out of Missouri, 77th rated player at that position, 13th rated player in the state of Missouri. close to top 500 according to On3.
Yeah, you know what, Jayden Doss. I mean, he kicked off the weekend, and it was kind of funny that we were having a team meeting at On3 Nebraska Friday morning, because we're still in transition right now, moving from our old parent company to a new one, and things are a little bit different now. But we were having a meeting, and then it came down the pipe that the Doss commitment was happening, because it was a huge recruiting weekend, one of the biggest we've seen around here in a while. So we got all that ready, and obviously he was here all weekend on his official visit, and didn't need to work out, but he was one of those guys. There was an impressive overall, just a very impressive group of highly ranked prospects on their recruiting visit weekend, their official visit weekends, and just seeing those guys walk around as a group while Friday Night Lights camp was going on was pretty impressive. And he's the one who kickstarted it all. And obviously, when you've got a position coach like Mickey Joseph, it's kind of hard to turn him down. So yeah, that's a big get for Nebraska already in this class, especially when you can pull kids out of the state of Missouri. And he wasn't the only one here from the state of Missouri all weekend. They hosted quite a few of them. So yeah, 2 commits already here this weekend, and we haven't even started to talk about the state's number 1 ranked player, Malachi Coleman, that had a huge weekend here too. Besides Nebraska hosting the other top 5 or other top 4 or the top 6 players in the state over the weekend. Commits already, Gunnar Gatula, Sam Sledge, Benjamin Bramer, all these guys were here this weekend. Yeah, it was a pretty impressive sight to see, and Nebraska did yeoman's work this weekend on the recruiting trail.
Absolutely. And not that anybody's counting, especially not Dewey, but he says 2 months, 19 days, 17 hours, 40 minutes until kickoff.
Hey, I think we all have that timer set somewhere, right?
Dewey does. He's got it set for all of us. Aloha from Samuel. Good to see you. Stephen as well,
yeah.
and everybody else.
Sammy Buddha, man, he rocks out in Hawaii. I love that guy.
Yeah, he does. Yes, he does. Good to see everybody here. Appreciate you being here. Well, will Nebraska win more than 9 games this season? So the over-unders in Vegas came out just a few days ago, and the Husker over-under is sitting at 7.5.
7.5, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a tough call for me to make.
Yeah.
If anything, if I let my my lean be communicated right now, I don't think anybody in this chat's going to be too happy with me. So I tend to lean on the low side there, but I think that's about right where I would want to stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas knows what they're doing, right? That's how they make
usually
money. Yeah. So I think, when you bring that question up, more in my mind is that it's kind of an audition for Scott Frost. We've been saying all along. I know we get asked this question, I think, every week. I mean, how many weeks have we been doing this show? But
there it is again.
Yeah,
Billy.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that we've been saying all along that making a bowl game is kind of what your target is. But I've kind of changed my attitude on that, thinking that maybe this is just make or break year for Scott Frost in this program. It's either going to be go big this year, or you're going to go have the same disappointing type of a season that you've been seeing all along. And then, maybe there's, it's forced to have a coaching change. But I think, Nebraska is poised to go big this year is kind of my thinking right now. And I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Please, don't anybody start talking about that. But when I look at the schedule, I think they're definitely – obviously, I think they're going to make a bowl game. But, yeah, my point of view has kind of changed. It's going to be go big or go home, basically, this year. So I'm kind of leaning on the other side of it right now and thinking that it might be a pretty decent year and it might be an 8 or 9 win season, and so maybe bet accordingly, but don't blame me for your losses.
Well, there's no question that they've traded a tougher schedule in for an easier one. They've lost Ohio State and Michigan State and replaced Ohio State and Michigan State with Rutgers and let me think through. Indiana and Rutgers.
Yeah. Well, they had Rutgers last year too. Hey, sorry.
So they had last year. They had Michigan State. They didn't play Rutgers last year, did they? They didn't play Rutgers.
Oh no,
that was the year before.
Yeah, I was thinking of the last game of the
year. No, they had Ohio State, Michigan State. They're trading Ohio State and Michigan State for Rutgers and Indiana. And they've got Oklahoma at home, not on the road. And that doesn't mean they're going to win against Oklahoma, but they've got a much better chance, you would think, at home. And I think they've upgraded considerably more than anybody in the Big Ten through the transfer portal.
I mean, yeah, big time they have. And that makes me laugh. I'm sorry to kind of joke about that, but I was actually listening to it was yesterday. I was listening to a local radio station, and they were talking to a guy from the Athletics that's from Iowa that covers Iowa, and they've only got one guy in the transfer portal at Iowa. They've lost 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think Nebraska has definitely, done a ton more work than anybody else out there in the Big Ten. But they were also in that position where they needed to do that.
Yeah, Iowa's a conservative program, and it suits them well. And they just would rather recruit out of the high school ranks and develop them. And we'll see how that works for them going forward, because obviously this is a new day and age and new strategies, and it's a bit of a free agency market. So we'll see if I was able to keep up with that.
Yeah.
But at this point, it wasn't that they missed out on guys. They just didn't go after guys. They held pat.
Exactly. That they didn't. That's not the way they kind of do things. And hey, what works for them, I guess.
Absolutely. So looking for comments and questions, folks. Bring them in.
But I just want to make sure that everybody, everybody that's been used to our, our great coverage as a team and stuff, just make sure that you're now going over to on3nebraska.com. That's where you can find us now. And like I mentioned earlier, Steve Sipple has joined our team here at On3 Nebraska. So you've got the best coverage of Nebraska football out there anywhere by far. And again, On3 Nebraska video is where you find our new video homepage for the next 3 months.
Okay. So if I'm looking for it online here, I was typing in all those things and I didn't get anything.
It comes up On3 Nebraska coming soon. Or maybe Nebraska On3. I don't know. But yeah, just Google it. It comes up.
Yeah.
It still says coming soon on there. we can't go into explaining why that says that, but
Okay.
it does.
Well, do we have any more camps / official visits to keep an eye on for this weekend?
This weekend, no, it kind of cools off. There's on the 17th is the next big weekend. There's Friday Night Lights 2, and then the Pipeline Camp the following day. So those will be the next two big ones. But no, I mean this. I'll say one thing about this weekend. Obviously, is a huge recruiting weekend, but the actual Friday Night Lights camp, in my mind, was kind of a dud. Just because there weren't a lot of guys competing out there, any of the top guys. And, I think everybody kind of walked away just a little bit disappointed. But you still saw a lot of young and up and coming guys compete. And there was a couple guys that ended up getting offers after the camp. I mean, which always happens. But I think the biggest takeaway was actually on Sunday for the 7-on-7 camp, which really I wouldn't expect a whole heck of a lot. And I've covered 7-on-7 camps for a long time and across the country in some of the biggest venues, and obviously 7-on-7 state championships in Texas is the biggest of all of what goes on 7-on-7s. But I was very impressed and excited with what we saw on Sunday. And it was all highlighted by, the state of Nebraska's #1 player, Malachi Coleman, at a Lincoln East. It was funny because, I got there Sunday morning about 10 o'clock for the opening games. And the Nebraska elite squad that was participating was really exciting team to watch. And so I'm sitting in the stands there and I'm filming some stuff, and I'm impressed by their quarterback, which is he's a heck of an exciting player to watch too, that we can talk about here in a little bit. But this Nebraska elite squad had all the top prospects here that were all in the state track finals in the 100 and the 200. So they had burners all over the place that playing receiver and playing defensive back, and it was pretty crazy to see. So anyway, like I was saying, I was talking to one of the parents there after their first game ended, and he was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, Malachi Coleman is on this team too," and he was still doing his official visit weekend stuff and wrapping it up, and then their second game was going to start here in a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, there's Malachi Coleman out there. So I got to see him play. I don't know. I probably focused in on him playing about 6 games on Sunday, and got all kinds of great video of him, and it was like watching somebody take candy from a baby all day as he's playing wide receiver with his 6'5", 6'6" frame, and his soft hands, and his athletic jumping ability is just off the charts. And I mean, he is just one of the most athletic, freaky guys that you'll ever see coming out of the state of Nebraska. Seriously, he's the best. He's probably the best football prospect to come out of Lincoln since at least Baker Steinkuhler, or maybe Alex Gordon would be the other guy that comes to mind. So he put on some kind of a show, and then it's funny, during the camp, his mother actually started reaching out to the media and set up a press conference Sunday evening. Just so he could talk to all the local media and talk about his official visit weekend. Nothing about committing or anything, but just wanted to, do like one interview so that people didn't have to keep bothering him and make him do, 20 or 30 interviews about it. And it was a great day. I mean, like I said, I was there at 10 o'clock Steve Sipple and I wrapped up our stand-up recap at about 3:00, just as the rain was rolling in, and I got out of there and jetted home, and I put together our video recap, and I put together Malachi Coleman highlights, and then right back down to the coffee shop where the press conference was going on to, and got that all taken care of. Then back home and got the interviews out and everything. And so yeah, it was a pretty hardcore day on Sunday. I didn't have a lot of time for much else.
I guess not. There is no off season for the most part.
Absolutely.
In college football. Our guy here, 1998, is asking, is that Nintendo? Yes, 1998. Looking for the status on Omarion Miller, who we've talked quite a bit about the last few weeks, and Amir Herring. Any thoughts on their possible commitments?
Hey, I mean, Omarion Miller's been talked about quite a bit, and I really like Nebraska's chances on there, or with him. I'll have to check out the latest on him. I've been so busy with other stuff here, but oh yeah, okay, here we go. Well, yeah, he did have a great visit. I can definitely report that. He said he felt at home. But yeah, all these guys, seriously, when I saw these guys all together as a group, walking around, interacting, and obviously they'll kind of go hang out at their position group of what's going on at camp, and which is also kind of a cool thing if people haven't seen or kind of know what a camp like that's all about, is that the Nebraska coaches all come out and coach those position groups. They'll break everybody into their position groups in different parts of the field, and they'll send the offense and defensive line down to the indoor practice facility, and so you get a chance to see the Nebraska coaches actually coaching up young prospects and stuff, and plus a lot of the current players are out there also acting as assistant coaches, so you get to see a lot of those guys interacting with these kids, and some of the ones that know the other ones locally and stuff. I mean, one of the ones that was sticking out in my mind was Thomas Fedoni was out there rocking a man bun, if anybody wants to know that, with no brace on his knee at all. Looked good, but yeah, it's kind of funny seeing Thomas Fedoni out there talking to some of the younger tight ends and stuff, and that's the kind of cool stuff that you see at these kind of camps. It's a whole team effort. Everybody's involved, and then, like I said, that like the big name prospects that are coming through, that have offers and stuff, don't really need to work out, so they don't. So they're just wearing street clothes and kind of just just taking everything in and interacting with the current players and the coaching staff. But it's a very cool experience, and this is all open to the public here at Nebraska too. So I mean, if you're in Lincoln, you can always go to see these. So June 17th is the Friday nights too. So yeah, it's free to get into as well. So
Huskers Live every Tuesday, folks, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, where it counts. And join us each week. Don't forget to hit the like button. Please do that. The Super Chat's available as well, or you can contribute on Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Just search Mark Rogers TV, and as you see on the ticker there, we've got a Discord that runs all the time. You can talk Huskers there. So just imagine the live chat that you got right here, but that's going 24/7 all the time. So what you do is you go to Patreon, search Mark Rogers TV, sign up there. I get you a link, and you can join our 50 or 60 folks on Discord talking college football. Kyle is asking, if Scott Frost is retained after this season, do you think he will shift towards recruiting from the portal more or back to the high school ranks?
I mean, that's a great question, Kyle. Obviously, you saw what they did this year, making a huge splash with the transfer portal. And that was out of necessity. But I don't see this whole transfer portal thing going away anytime soon. And, with what's been going on here between other schools not even involved with Nebraska, it's a no-brainer that basically I think you really need to always explore that transfer portal to improve your team. Now, that being said, you can't ever not stray away from recruiting the high school ranks, because that's where you load your roster from, for the most part. The transfer portal is more for plug and play guys that it's like free agency basically. And the problem with it is that there's no salary cap right now in the transfer portal. So it's very lucrative for college players to change teams right now, and we'll see how long it lasts there. But you can't ever go away from the high school recruiting, but I think you're going to see more of a 50-50 mix because, quite frankly, you can add somebody from the transfer portal all year round. You don't have to, you're not bound to get an offer out there and get a commit from that offer. And then, hold on until signing day, for that to be official. So, but yeah, like we've said plenty of times here before, the landscape of college football has changed dramatically because of the transfer portal and NIL. And until there's some rules put in place, it's a free for all right now, and you're gonna grab the best player possible that you can to help your team right now.
Yeah, the transfer portal, as Greg just said, the big advantage there, as he just stated, with recruiting and being the recruiting cycle is you put out the offer, you have to wait. There's a lot of chance that player is going to flip, go elsewhere. So we got to wait, for example, from now until December. That's still another 6+ months, mid-December, to make sure that commit comes through. That player may or may not be prepared to play college football yet, depending on their physical maturity, based on what kind of program they're coming out of, and the strength and conditioning program at their high school and all of that. And they're unproven, regardless of what they're ranked and what their ceiling is. They're unproven, as opposed to going out there, and I'm going to go top shelf with this example, Casey Thompson, but even well beyond that, that, okay, this guy was able to play 2 years at Wake Forest. Well, that tells us something, that he played at major college football and he made this many tackles and played this many games. So he's physically developed. He understands the game. He's been through the grind. He's proven himself. So that's a known commodity versus an unknown. But at the same time, to Greg's final point, the players still have to come from the high school ranks. So somebody's got to recruit and sign them somewhere. So you can't live off of either one. Well, you can live off the high school recruiting, but you may start to lose some games and fall behind your competition if you're not using the transfer portal at all. But the high school recruiting is just never going to be able to go away. That's where the players are coming from.
Absolutely. I mean, they got to get their chances too, right? And to add on to that too, is that Nebraska's poised right now to actually, get commitments from at least the top 7 or 8 players in the state of Nebraska coming out of this year. The lone guy that we're not hearing a lot about right now is the wide receiver Davion Hall out of Bellevue West, but he's been in Nebraska plenty of times, and he wasn't around this weekend. I'm sure he had other things going on. He's also a busy young man, but I think Nebraska has a chance really to land probably the top 10 prospects in the state if that's what they want to do this year. So, I think high school recruiting is doing very well right now for Scott Frost and his staff. And it doesn't hurt, like we said before, it really doesn't hurt to have a Mickey Joseph on your staff. And I'll bounce back to this Malachi Coleman when he talked to us on Sunday night, and he kept mentioning Mickey Joseph and how valuable. And Jayden Doss, the same thing when he committed on Friday. That you've got a coach there that that is what he wants to do is groom you to play on Sundays in the NFL. And there's probably not another guy out there better qualified to do that than Mickey Joseph. And that is a huge recruiting advantage for Nebraska.
A few months ago, Greg and I went through the last, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 recruiting classes and looked at the top Nebraska. We looked at the top 5 to 10 players in the state of Nebraska for the last 4 or 5 years. And Nebraska was somewhere got about half of them, maybe a little bit more than half. So to be able to pull in the top 8 or 9 and get them all, or maybe just miss on one, is a huge upgrade from what it's been.
Well, yeah, it seems like you always lose 1 or 2 from, to a program like Iowa or Minnesota or Oklahoma is one that kids are kind of gravitated towards. And but for the first time in a long time, I think they have a pretty good grasp on all the in-state guys and have a really good shot to land them all. And I mean, Maverick Noonan's a guy that was here on his official visit weekend, and he's a legacy, and everybody in the country is courting him. Everybody in the country is courting Malachi Coleman. I mean, my gosh, Georgia wants him so badly as a wide receiver, and the jury's still out on Malachi Coleman. In my mind, I love him as an outside linebacker, as a rush end, but he's also a special wide receiver. He's just a freakish athlete, and Maverick Noonan's got one of the best motors I've seen outside of Garrett Nelson. I'll tell you that. But these are 2 special players that you got to get. You already add them to what you've already gotten. Gunnar Gatula and Sam Sledge is in state commits right now, and then Brock Knutson. You add that on. It's a good looking list of commits already. And like I said, with a good chance to land 2 guys that are big time national commits as well. It could be a banner year this year in high school recruiting. We'll see. We'll see how it all comes out. But like we always say, Mark, you got to let it translate on the field, and you got to win those games. And for a team right now that won 4 games last year, they're doing a pretty impressive job right now. Or 3. Sorry.
Sorry to remind you.
They all run together anymore. I'm old. I get confused. Yeah. So, I think they're doing a heck of a job, still trying to sell the dream and to sell, what Nebraska has to offer. So, it's great. Yeah, I like it. So, yeah. And so we can answer Sam's question now, I guess, right? Or do you have
Well, the other point to get to real quick before you move on to Sam's question is something that you've explained a number of times in this new world of NIL. So we've got a new world of transfer portal. Greg addressed that, what the balance is there between high school recruiting and transfer portal, which Nebraska was more successful than anybody in the Big Ten this offseason. The other component that Nebraska has apparently gotten a great jump on is NIL, where a lot of schools out there, even large schools, have been scrambling in the last several months to pull something together. Nebraska was out in front of that a long time ago.
Yep. Saw it coming. Yep. I mean, and then that's what, the thing that everybody was talking about last week was Ryan Day, asking for $13 million from boosters because they need to keep their current players on their roster. Kind of the opposite of what Nebraska's at. Nebraska's offering that kind of money to people to bring them on the roster. And, that's the advantage of all these top Power 5 programs that have the huge booster base. The blue bloods, so we like to call it in college football, that, even though I don't care if Nebraska haters don't think Nebraska's a blue blood, but they are a blue blood. Look at how many games they've won in their history, and look at the donor base that they have. Nebraska is not a program that's never going to be hurting for money for anything. So that's a huge advantage. It really is. And, Nebraska's not the only school that's like that. But it's kind of funny to hear, other programs like in Ohio State, crying out saying, "Hey, we need help here," and then you see like the vice versa of a Nick Saban saying, "Hey, our guys do very well. They did very well last year, and we're fine one way or the other, but we just don't like the other guy to be." Trying to pay more for their players than we are. But it's a crazy mixed up world of college football that we are in these days. But hey, you know what? If you got the advantage, you take it and you run with it. And Nebraska will always have that advantage of being able to pay a lot of money to put a product out on the field for everybody to enjoy.
Samuel. Greg, where does Nebraska's pipeline camp rank compared to other such camps, i.e., Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa?
Well, the different this is not a Nebraska camp. We want to make that clear. This is an Adidas pipeline camp. This is sponsored by Adidas. Adidas runs this thing. This is one of Adidas's national camps that they put on. They do a quarterback one. They do a skill position one. And it's fairly new. They've only done it for a couple of years now. I think this is the third one. But they chose Nebraska, and they called it the Pipeline Camp because of Nebraska's history of, very successful offensive linemen going on to the next level and becoming Hall of Famers and the like. So this is not, you can't even compare this to, a Wisconsin big man camp or an Iowa. It's a totally different animal. And this is what attracts kids from all across the country to come in here. And like I said, it's fairly new right now, but, if it keeps going the way that they kind of dreamed this would be, in a couple, 2 or 3 more years, this will be the premier camp to come to in the country if you are a offensive or defensive line prospect. That's their dream of this. So, it's kind of still in the fledgling parts, but it's funny to see that, and you talk to it. It's great because you can interact with the kids' parents and stuff when you're in the stands and they're pointing out your kid. You might not know who they are. We're from Texas. We're from Rhode Island. We're from South Dakota. I mean, it's crazy. People come in and they're trying to get their kids noticed, and we'll do anything for some of that exposure. And you get a lot of guys that you kind of look at during these camps and say, like, who invited that kid here? But then you get on the flip side, you're like, holy cow, look at that dude. We got to find out more about this kid. And but so it's like I said, it will be one of the premier camps and destination camps coming up here shortly in a few years, if it all keeps going successfully. And unfortunately, COVID had a little bit of problem, put a snafu in that. Otherwise, I think it would be a much more known camp right now. But when you got the backing of Adidas, that obviously Nebraska's an Adidas school, they're going to do everything possible to make it very successful. And you know what? It helps to have, if you're a kid and it helps to have a parent, a mother or father that's really dedicated to, your career, like that wants to push you in a career in football or help you in your career in football, that heck, we'll drive down to Lincoln, Nebraska and compete in this camp in front of all these eyes, because this is a camp where any college coach in the country is welcome to come and be on the sidelines and on the field to watch and to interact and to actually help coach kids. So that's the biggest difference about this, is that, you'll have coaches from probably 20 different colleges, maybe 5 or 6 different D1 colleges at least. So yeah, that's one of the bigger differences, that, it's a national camp and it's not just a camp held on somebody's campus.
All right, here's the deal, folks. We deliver the show each and every Tuesday. What we ask you to do is be here. Thank you for that. Hit the like button. get some other college football fans in here. So Nebraska fans, of course, you want to hear what's going on, but we've got USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, all sorts of fans in here representing other schools. So bring some other college football fans with you next week. We appreciate the 100+ that are here, but we want to continue to grow and build the channel. So
make sure to get people, subscribe to that On3 Nebraska video site on YouTube, please, and tell all your friends.
On3 video right here on YouTube.
On3 Nebraska video.
On3 Nebraska. On3 Nebraska. All right. So the transfer portal shut down on May 1st, meaning anybody needed to enter by May 1st. They didn't need to make a decision by May 1st, but they had to be entered into the portal by May 1st. We've seen a few decisions made after that. That does not include grad transfers. They can continue to transfer, but I don't know when our next cycle's coming up. Ben's got a question here about when can kids enter the portal without being penalized?
Ben, kids can enter the portal anytime they want. There's no restrictions on that whatsoever. And I think that just becomes, I'm not sure about the penalized part of that, but in my understanding is if you go into the portal, you're immediately eligible, if I'm not mistaken. But it depends on when you join that new school as to when classes start to say if you are eligible for that upcoming season. If that makes any sense.
So what I can't find is when the portal, like you say, the portal's open all the time, but when can an athlete re-enter the portal at this point with hopes of being immediately eligible? So for example, it says right here, the NCAA transfer portal deadline and what it means for student athletes. May 1st has come and gone, meaning any student athletes who opt to enter the portal will be ineligible to compete next season, barring a waiver being granted.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So at some point, are we going to have to wait until the end of the season before it opens up again for 2023?
No, obviously. Okay, so everybody's done with their spring practice now, and they're doing summer conditioning now. Once fall camp opens up, you're probably going to see people leaving programs going into the transfer portal because they find out kind of where they're at on the depth chart, and they're not happy with that. So it's like, okay, well, I want to go. Maybe I'll just go try elsewhere. Well, obviously, you're not eligible to play right away. Now, you got to wait until the following season to play. But, you're still totally eligible to get in the transfer portal and pick a new school and enroll there. You're just not eligible to play.
All right.
It's weird that we have to talk about all this stuff. It's something that we never, a few years ago that we'd never dreamed of having to analyze stuff.
NIL, transfer portal.
It just kind of it makes the season a little bit more endless too now. The recruiting now happens 24/7 these days.
It is. It is all the time.
Which makes life good for guys like me. I love it.
Hey, I'm living off college football, so it makes it good for me too.
Absolutely.
FSU Seminoles, do you think someday college football will do away with the NIL?
Oh, God.
Well, no. No, we just got here. So that's basically college football is catching college athletics. We shouldn't leave out everybody else. It's college athletics is catching up with the rights that every person in the United States has. It's basically so it's not going to go back.
Yeah, if you're going to, you want to deny all of a sudden the rights that these young prospects never had, and, these college players have never had. now you want to strip that away from them, for a chance to actually earn money. Well, I mean, don't think that it's not, they don't have a job. I mean, yeah, they get their school paid for free, but my God, those guys, they go through the ringer, of having to work out and have to go to practice and have to go to class on top of it. And then the travel that's involved. It's crazy. And it's a wonder why those guys weren't getting paid a long time ago in my mind. So, I mean, I think it's a right that all of them should have. And I'm very thankful that they all have a chance now to actually make a little bit of money while they're actually, putting their bodies on the line and maybe the future of their health on the line for a school that they love.
The funny thing about everything you just said there, Greg, and it's all true, is that they're still not being paid. So they're not being paid technically for their work on the football field.
Name, image, and likeness.
They're just being given the right to do what any of us can do.
To have an extra job. To moonlight.
If I can post videos on TikTok and make $1 million, then I can do that.
Yep.
But, you obviously have to gain some kind of celebrity in the marketplace to be able to capitalize on that. But they have that from playing football.
Yeah, and that's where it's on them too. I mean, if you want to get paid more from NIL, then be a better football player, right? I mean, it's all pretty good incentive for a winning combination in my mind.
I think that there are aspects of it that, at least as it stands right now and the way it's headed, are not good for college football, but that's not the athletes' fault. The athletes are simply just,
they're taking advantage of what they can get now. I mean,
they're just taking advantage, and they are just simply taking advantage of something that actually should have been available to them before, because it's available to all the rest of us.
Yep. And it just eliminates all that, the behind the table, the under the table, envelope full of $100 bills that exchange from boosters to players that have gone on forever, and those used car dealerships that all of a sudden they're missing a few cars. That's all legal now. So
there are still aspects of it that could be illegal depending on what the school's involvement is. So,
but it doesn't have to be now. That's the thing. Is that, hey, you can do it all. It's all above board now.
Well, they can't be in.
Well, as long as all the players have to do is report it to the IRS. That's all they got to do, and it's totally legal all the way across the board. As long as the IRS is putting their taxes on it, it's fine.
But the schools can technically not entice an athlete.
The schools don't have anything to do with it. Schools have nothing to do with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There are still aspects of it that are illegal.
The school cannot. They have no say in this matter. This is all done by private companies. The one here in Lincoln is ABM. We've talked about them before. They're the ones on the forefront of this. That's why you see our team be able to talk to these guys weekly with all the recruits. That's why we're the only ones exclusively involved with this, because of ABM. That they're the people that put all this together. The money goes from the booster or for the donor through them to the players. It's all legal. It's all documented. And, the players, all they have to do is send in their information to the IRS, and they're all good to go. And, the university, like I said, is forbidden to be involved with any of this. It's all private entities. It's all boosters to the program, and it's all legal. It's all advertising, basically. And like we've said before, most of the boosters around here for Nebraska don't care about any return on their investment when they're doing this. They're called boosters because they want the program to win football games and to be relevant again. And, if they've got extra money, they're going to go ahead and use it any way possible to help this football team. And any Nebraska athletics. I mean, I'm kind of selfish to leave out, women's volleyball and men's basketball and the baseball program too. The women's softball program, they're also, I can go up and down. It's great for all college athletes these days have such a great opportunity now. And that makes me very happy to see.
Danielle is asking whether On3 has an app.
Boy, that's a good question. I'm so new to it too, but I'm sure they do. If not, it's probably in development. But they've already collected a lot of the. They get some of the top sites around the country now for all college programs. So, that would be something. I don't know. You'd have to Google that, I guess. I can't really tell you that right now because I'm still struggling with the admin on the new site to be able to post my content on. I'm still relying on some of my coworkers to actually post my content. I can get my videos online, but I just can't post it on the On3 site right now. But I can get on the message boards, so that at least that's a good thing.
Danielle, go to your app store and just do a search. You should be able to find it. GC Yours is saying, do you think Nebraska's offensive line is ready to fight for the Big Ten championship, or Nebraska needs at least 2 more proven offensive linemen from the transfer portal?
God, I hope. I mean, that's really the offensive line is probably the biggest question mark right now. Going into the fall camp, in I think everybody's minds, and it all has to do with guys that you already have and guys that have been injured that you're still not really sure what their status is going into the season. But I think there's just talk about the guys they have right now, which I think the biggest question is Bryce Benhart right now, about a guy that came in very highly touted, had a pretty good freshman year, and then kind of fell off a little bit. So you want to see how he can kind of respond to that, and then another guy, we're talking about rivals 100 top ranked 100 guys in the country. Teddy Prohauska as well, who was really starting to come on before he got hurt last year. And he doesn't look like he's hurt to me either. I mean, a lot of these guys that were hurt and missed a lot, like a Thomas Benoni, they all look fine to me, just, every day walking around and stuff. But, obviously I'm not seeing them out there cutting and everything. So, those two guys, if you can get those two guys locked in on both of your tackles, I mean, obviously they want Teddy Prohauska to be the left tackle and Bryce Benhart to be the right tackle. And then Turner Corcoran, who's another guy that was another highly ranked guy that had some injury troubles and stuff, that has been forced to play tackle. But, he's a guy that obviously has big time NFL talent on the interior. So if you can use Turner Corcoran at guard and have him have a great year, and another guy that they think has had a really good spring and stuff that can be that other guard is Henry Lutowski, who, he's pound for pound probably one of the toughest dudes I've ever met in my life. So if you can get those guys gelling and stuff, and then you got some good backups. Some guy, Nuri Newellen played a lot of games after he transferred over from Colorado State. He's another guy that you can depend on, and the center position right now is kind of where you're looking to replace, a guy like Cameron Jurgens that was a 3rd round draft pick in the NFL draft this year. And there's a couple guys in line for that job, and we'll kind of go from there. And they added a couple pieces in that transfer portal, but obviously right now, like we just talked about, is that you can't really add anybody right now that's going to be eligible to help you for the upcoming season right now. So they pretty much got to stick with what they got right now. And like I said, it's a question mark, but if guys are healthy and if Donovan Raiola can, who, really was coaching like crazy over the weekend in all these camps. If what I'm hearing is right, and he's kind of changed the attitude of these guys in that offensive line room and has kind of lit a fire under them, who knows? Maybe they have a really good chance to be a very successful group. And you can't forget either, with a new offensive coordinator in like Mark Whipple. It was kind of funny on Sunday. I kept running into him as I was going from the Hawks Center, the indoor facility, to the stadium. And I kept saying, "Well, hi again, Coach." Probably happened about 6 times on Sunday. But, you got him, offensive coordinator now, that understands what it takes to win and how to scheme an offense to win in the league that they're in. So I think you're going to see an offensive line that's, they're going to concentrate a lot more on running the ball, which obviously everybody that knows the game knows that it's a heck of a lot easier to block in the run game for offensive linemen than it is in the pass game. So I think there's a lot of factors involved that you can think about going into this, that the offensive line might just be poised to have a breakout year and really be one of the special parts of this team. Barring, obviously, what we've been seeing for a long time is those obvious mistakes, those penalties. So hopefully we can see that cleaned up and we might see a better product out there on the field. And then stay healthy is the biggest key.
Fox is telling us that he had a hot take that we didn't answer. Well, I didn't see your hot take, Fox. So we get to as many comments and questions as we possibly can. I will not guarantee we're not contractually obligated to answer anybody's questions, but if you send us a super chat, we will definitely answer those questions. I will read all the super chat contributions, but if you post your question, we get to as many as possible. But I did not see your hot take right there. All right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny too that that 7-on-7 camp on Sunday is a great opportunity that for guys like me, that you can just hobnob with the coaching staff and stuff, and pretty cool that got to talk to Bill Bush quite a bit, and Bill Bush was telling me about prospects to go look at, the guys that are popping out in his mind and stuff. Mike Dawson as well. We're talking about him taking his family on vacation down to the Ozarks here in July, and Sean Beckton always is a pleasure to talk to. I've got a pretty special relationship with Coach Beckton as well, and just so much fun. And so then there was on Sunday there was a few other Nebraska offer kids that were out there competing in the 7-on-7, and one of them was BJ Candidate out of Missouri, out of the Kansas City, or out of Topeka. Actually, he's a Topeka product. He's a 4-star. He's got a Nebraska offer, and he was playing quarterback for his high school 7-on-7 team, and he's a rush end. He's 6'5", 240. And so we were standing there, and Coach Bush comes up to him and said, "Hey, BJ, you're slinging it pretty good out there, but you know what? You'll never play quarterback for me here at Nebraska." He started laughing. So yeah, those are kind of the special moments that you kind of can capture at these type of camps when you're involved with it. So this is another day. Actually, when I was even walking into the stadium, when I first drove up and parked, and I start walking across the street, and Mickey Joseph is standing outside of the front doors of the stadium on his phone. And he took the chance. He's like, "Are you going to get some good video of the kids out there today?" And I was like, "Yeah, Coach, that's my plan. I got to figure out who's here first, because at the time I didn't even know what teams were there. We didn't know who was competing and stuff." And he said, "Hey, after we're done," because they're still doing their official visit stuff with all the official visitors. He's like, "As soon as us coaches are done in here with the kids, we'll be out there and we'll help you. We'll tell you who's who and stuff." And I was like, "Well, thank you, Coach."
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right. Nebraska or Kansas State, who wins more games? That's Fox's question. That's going to be close.
Can Taylor Martinez or I'm sorry, can Adrian Martinez stay healthy?
Yep.
That might be the bigger question, right? Because I think everybody did, and most people might have saw his. I think it was last week. He had some comments that he put out there, said that this was the most talented team he's ever been around at Kansas State. So I think a lot of Nebraska fans kind of took that as a shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, obviously Adrian's a special player, and he's obviously struggled throughout his career of staying healthy, and that's kind of hampered some of his potential. But I think K-State probably goes, as their starting quarterback goes. We'll see. But I like the way Nebraska's schedule stacks up. I haven't looked at Kansas State's schedule. I mean, the Big 12 is the Big 12, and I think that's always kind of right now. Who knows? I mean, with Oklahoma, with all their changes, and Texas and Oklahoma, new coaches, and last year in the conference, maybe Kansas State has a chance to win it this year. Who knows?
All right, folks, tell your friends, get on back here for Nebraska Live at 6 Central next Tuesday. Greg, appreciate you being here.
No problem.
We'll do it again next week, hopefully.
Sounds good.